Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Joseph Mogel here again. Sorry about the hiatus. I know a couple of weeks, but life happens. Good, bad, indifferent. It happens. Anyway, I'm going to be continuing with some of the not some of the same topics, but the same kind of a thread. I'm still going to be discussing the business of writing. I know it's not the fun stuff yet. I'll get to that. I'm trying to get the more businessy stuff out of the way first so that we can focus on the fun stuff a little bit more later on. I'm still looking forward to some questions. I haven't gotten any yet, and I would like, if you have any questions, send me an email. You can get access to my email address through my my YouTube page and through my website. Hyperlink is in the description below. Send me an email. If you have any questions, if you're curious about a topic I haven't covered yet, send me an email. Please. I'm always open to questions. That being said, on with business. I know, not the fun stuff, but still, it's necessary, and this is a particularly necessary topic today. And I'm going to be doing a couple more videos on this particular issue, and that is scams. Scams, they're a problem, particularly for writers. Writing is a great job. You only work a couple hours a day. You work when you want, where you want, how you want. And particularly good authors will make 100% of their money writing. You don't have to work a part-time job. You make all your money just writing. So it's a very desirable profession. Consequently, a lot of people who want to break into that profession can get caught up in scams. Now, what I'm going to talk about today aren't true scams. I'm going to do those in a future video. What I'm going to talk about today are things that can become scams if you're not educated about them. And unfortunately, a lot of new authors aren't really educated about these things. First thing I'm going to talk about, competitions. Writing competitions. They're all over the internet. Do a search for writing competitions. You'll find thousands of entries. Many of them are paid. You might think, paid competition? That's not really a scam. It's not a true scam, like I said. But the reality is that if you don't know what you're getting into, it can become one for you. What I mean is this. For most instances of paid competitions, the kind of people who enter those competitions tend to be either the newest, greenest authors around or the veteran professionals. And that's the problem. If you don't realize that maybe there are 100 entrants, about 15 of those people are people who are making 100% of their money writing. Most likely they have multiple awards and have their names on multiple websites and books, magazines, recording their achievements as authors. One competition that I was privy to, didn't compete in, but I was privy to it, one of the authors was a 70-year-old who had spent 50 years writing in science fiction. He had dozens of books, had won multiple international science fiction awards. There were, I believe, 55 entrants into that competition. Care to take a guess who won? See, if you don't realize that going into this, it can become a problem. Some young authors will go around going, I'm going to compete in this competition. It's a $5 entry fee, but if I win, I get 100,000, not 100,000, but like 500 bucks, 600 bucks, 1,000 bucks. You're going up against professionals. This would be like a weekend warrior jumping in the octagon with an MMA fighter. If you don't realize that the for-pay competitions are the ones that are going to draw in the professionals, the veteran professionals, and the greenest of green writers, you're going into it unaware. Now you know. Bear in mind that in truth, it's not a true scam. They spell all the rules right up front. There's no scamming on the part of the people putting on the competition. But it becomes a trap for new authors who don't realize the people who are going to compete in this are either people who don't really know what they're doing or the people who know what they're doing so well that they can compete seriously. It becomes a scam for people who don't know better. Now you do. Get experience. Enter into the free competitions. There are free competitions all over the internet. Win a couple of those. Maybe you only make 20 bucks, but you can add winning competitions to your resume. And don't be surprised if you don't win either. Again, writing is a very competitive business. You get 50 people competing in a story contest, guess what? That's 49 other people besides yourself who have put their heart and soul into a piece, expecting to win. You think you're going to win? The other 49 people think they're going to win too. It's not a scam, but it can become one if you're not educated. The other thing, other topic, subject in the same category, not a true scam, but it can become one if you're not educated, for pay submissions. It sounds a little bit crazy. A publishing house or a magazine is going to make money off your story anyway. Why are you paying to submit your story? There are a few reasons for this. Some publishing houses, and there are some big ones that survived the clobbering of the big publishing houses by the internet about 10, 15 years ago. It was about that point where the number of publishing houses increased. Since I started publishing, the number of English language publishers globally has gone from about 1,100 to over 4,500. The last time I checked, it was about 4,560 odd publishing houses, which is quite a lot. It's more than a fourfold increase in just about a decade, half a decade. That's quite impressive when you think about the expansion of the number of publishing houses. But there are still some big boys out there. And that means that you get published with one of these big publishing houses, guess what's going to happen? You're going to make a lot more money. Guess what that means? There are a lot more people submitting to that particular publishing house. If publishing a novel with a bigger publisher means you're going to make $50,000 in a year, guess what? Everyone who has a novel that they think is going to be the next big thing is going to be submitting to that publishing house. So to weed out people, a lot of these publishers expect to be paid. Now let's say you have a publishing house that gets 10,000 submissions. The editors who read through those books to determine whether or not they're going to publish it have to read through 10,000 novels. Maybe they're not going to read through the whole thing. Maybe they'll read through the first and last chapter and get a general idea of what the story is like and where it's going. An introduction and the not a synopsis, but the tying up of loose ends to give them an idea of exactly what to expect. Those editors still have to get paid. If all 10,000 submissions do not stand up to the company's expectations, they still have to pay the editors. This is where pay for submission comes into play. It weeds out some people. It also means that even if you don't get any novels that are worth publishing, you're still going to make some money. You're still going to be able to pay some salaries as a publisher. Now, because a lot of people who start out in writing are looking for the big hit. I've got the next big amazing novel. It's going to make millions. I'm going to submit it to the biggest publishing houses I can. Great. You're also submitting to the largest swath of other people with the exact same attitude. It's exactly like the for-pay competitions. You're going into the biggest group of people submitting to the same area. Part of the reason why small publishing houses can survive is because they only have a handful of submissions. They only have to weed through a few. They pick out the best ones. They publish those. They know they're going to make some money. They don't have to charge you to submit. Big publishing houses, they have a much bigger overhead. That means they're going to charge you. And if you're not expecting that, if you're not prepared for that, and I've known some people that I submitted to like 5 different publishing houses. Really? They all expected me to pay. How much money did you spend? $500. It's happened. Some places charge more than others. Some places, some of the smaller of the big publishing houses will charge like $10 bucks. Others will charge 50 or 100. This is something to know in advance. If you're expecting to submit to a big major name publication and get published, you might be expected to pay out of pocket to begin with. Again, this is not a true scam, but if you're not prepared for it, it can become one for you. Hopefully now that you're educated to that, you will be able to find ways around it. Now there are some ways. Some people like to use literary agents, something I'm going to be talking about in a future video. There are pros and cons to that, like everything. But ultimately the decision is yours. Now you have a heads up about paid competitions and paid submissions. It's not going to be a scam for you because hopefully now you have an idea of what to expect from them. You're not going in blind. Anytime you go in blind, it becomes a scam. All right, that's enough for today. Enough of this happy, cheerful topic. So like and subscribe. I'm going to get this right someday. Like and subscribe below. If you have any questions, please questions. You can get my email address through my YouTube page or by going to the hyperlink in the description below to my website. Check out my website. My email address is there as well. Send me a question. Just put, I have a question for you in the subject line. I'll answer it on video. All right? All right. Thank you and cheers.